We've got another roster signing coming via the UFL as the Falcons have signed Prince Emili. What an all-time name. We can just kind of start right there. But the former UDFA out of Penn, so smart dude, signed with the Bills and then joined the Saints practice squad to open up his professional football career before going to the UFL and playing for the San Antonio Brahmas. I'm not going to pretend to watch spring football. I never watch a snap of the UFL, the USFL, the XFL. So I'm not going to try and feed you guys a line of bullshit as to whether or not I know a single thing about him, other than he is 6'2", 300 pounds. So he's a pretty big human being that's got some NFL practice squad experience, which is likely what he'll be competing for when it comes to the Falcons roster. Now, Atlanta has made 2 UFL signings over the last 48, 72 hours. Defensive tackle and an offensive lineman, so investing in the trenches. Overall, this brings the UFL to Atlanta Falcons pipeline count up to 6 since last spring to present day. So clearly Terry Fontenot is putting on spring football when he's at home and watching these guys and trying to envision whether or not they can be in a Falcons uniform. But here's what the updated depth charts look like after the handful of additions. The defensive line for Atlanta is jam-packed. And the offensive line for the Falcons is also a pretty loaded room, especially at the tackle positions. I mean, Jake Matthews, Caleb McGarry, they definitely have these starting spots down. And then you've got backups in Tyler Vrabel and Storm Norton, who I think are maybe not locks to make the roster, but they're on the plus side of the bubble to make Atlanta's 53-man roster. So every other guy is going to be competing likely for an interior offensive line position, unless they can really push Vrabel and Storm Norton, who I thought pitched in well last year when filling in for Matthews and McGarry for a couple of quarters here and there. There also may be another signing coming down the pipeline. Aaron Wilson, who is the king of UFL signings, he tweeted out the Falcons working out offensive lineman Jawan Bushell Betty, another all-time name. So keep an eye on a third signing for the Falcons over the next couple of hours. Ultimately, we're seeing a lot of work getting done right now for the 90th man on the roster. And I'm not going to shame or clown this. This is what Terry Fontenot and the rest of the front office's job is, to put together the best possible roster. So if they think there's a hidden gem out there, go get them. But there is a lot of work being done on the 90th man on the roster, when I'd like to see some signings go that could impact the 30th guy in the roster, right? Someone who could really push for some meaningful snaps at the pass rusher position or at cornerback, 2 spots that Atlanta could very well end up needing to address before the season gets underway. But no signing is too small. We do not shame here at all. Not too big, not too small. Whether it's a growing channel or, a showing player, no matter what, nothing's too small here at Falcons today. So go ahead, hit that sub button down below and help us reach our next little milestone of 22,500 subscribers. Now, we're going to talk about AJ Terrell next up on the channel, but the summer of trivia continues to keep you guys entertained when things are a bit slow in June and into July. So some trivia for you guys. What Falcon is this? A 2018 fourth-round draft pick, played 3 seasons for Atlanta, 1 season for Dallas. He had 4 touchdowns as a rookie, and I won't say exactly what position he played, but a skilled position player. So let me know in the chat right now or in the comment section what Falcon this is. We will reveal the answer at the end of today's episode. Now let's talk about an ESPN article which went over one move all 32 teams should make before training camp gets underway. And for the Falcons, that one move, extend AJ Terrell. Here's what Aaron Schatz from ESPN wrote. Terrell might have been the best cornerback in the NFL in 2021. He may have been below average in 2022. He was back up in 2023, finishing 15th in success rate and 35th in coverage DVOA, no idea what any of that means, among qualified cornerback. What is success rate? What can I say? Cornerback stats are inconsistent and hard to predict. Nonetheless, Terrell is easily considered the most important player on the Atlanta defense behind maybe safety Jessie Bates. The Falcons picked up his 5th-year option, but now they need to get Terrell signed long-term so he doesn't leave for another team in 2025. Let's talk about the possibility of extending AJ Terrell. This is not a new subject we've talked about before on the channel, but I kind of want to approach it maybe from a different angle because I do think there are some pros, a lot of pros to extending AJ Terrell, but I'm not entirely sold on it being an absolute must-do slam dunk no-brainer. I do think there are some cons that need to be acknowledged. Now, AJ Terrell has been a really good corner for the Falcons since being a first-round pick out of Clemson. His first 2 years in the NFL, he definitely emerged on the scene, 4 tackles, 23 pass breakups, 4 forced fumbles. But the last 2 seasons have been a lot quieter. And your average Joe that doesn't watch every single Falcons fan might look at that and go, AJ Terrell's not so good anymore. That's not entirely true. In fact, that does not tell the whole picture at all. Let's take it one step further. Look at AJ Terrell's coverage stats now, all right? The first 2 seasons in the NFL, the guy was targeted 192 times, gave up 114 completions for 1,300 yards and 9 touchdowns. Compare that to the following 2 seasons, 156 completions, only 156 targets, only 87 completions, little over 1,000 yards, and 10 touchdowns. So yeah, he's not getting the interceptions and pass breakups he had to start his career because no one's throwing the ball his way nearly as much as they were to start his NFL career. I think at this point, we can all agree AJ Terrell is an above-average cornerback. Is he a top 5 corner in the league? Probably not. And that's okay, all right? Just because you're not number 1, number 2, number 3 at a position doesn't mean you're bad. Unfortunately, I think sports media has brainwashed people into thinking if you're not the GOAT, then you suck. No, AJ Terrell can be the 10th best cornerback in the NFL, and he can be paid like the 10th best cornerback in the NFL, and that's perfectly fine. AJ Terrell is an above-average corner. Now, does that mean the Falcons need to extend him? Not necessarily, but most cases, yes. But this is a bit of a unique case because we're entering a new coaching regime with the Falcons, and that's where things might get a little bit hairy. And I'll explain why in just a moment. But we do have an awesome sale going on over at Fanatics. If you want to get this Falcons t-shirt combo, it's 25% off right now. Plus, Fanatics always has these really cool free shipping deals. So go to chatsports.com/Falcons combo. I put this link in the comments and description of today's video. I saw we got one viewer to buy a combo t-shirt set. So if you want to get some new Falcons gear in your life, use our link, chatsports.com/Falcons combo, and you will get 25% off. So as I was saying, I do have a slight tick of hesitancy to extend AJ Terrell because like we just kind of talked about, AJ Terrell is a really good corner. I'm not up to debate that, okay? I think we are past that point. But the reality is he may not be a perfect fit for the way Raheem Morris and Jimmy Lake will likely run their defense in Atlanta if they run it like how Raheem Morris ran it in LA. Now, that's kind of a big if because Raheem Morris may completely go a 180 approach and lean into his personnel more so than trying to get his personnel to fit into his defensive philosophy. But look at the coverage usage from the Rams last season. So the yellow bars, those are the league average, right? That's what the NFL is doing on average across all 32 teams. The bigger blue bars, that is the Rams average of those different coverage selections. So cover 1, which is a heavy man coverage, you can see the Rams last year were slightly below league average. Compare that to cover 3 and cover 4 and cover 6. The Rams are way above league average, which means they are running a lot of zone defenses. Now, let's look at the Falcons last season. It's almost the exact opposite of what the Rams did, right? Where they are way below league average in cover 3, cover 4. They are not running a lot of zone defense under AJ Terrell. They were way above league average in cover 1, which is all about man defense. So I know we're kind of getting into the nitty-gritty here of X's and O's for football, but the point is, and the explaining it to a 5-year-old Michael Scott version is, the Falcons under the last few years with AJ Terrell have ran a lot of man defense. That's what AJ Terrell is good at. Raheem Morris in LA ran a lot of zone defense. That's not something AJ Terrell has done a whole lot of, and that's not really his skill set. That's not his strong suit. Zone defenses require corners to be good open field tacklers. The point of a zone defense is to not give up the big play, right? To keep the ball in front of you and bank on your pass rush getting to the quarterback quickly, and they can't get the ball out in time. If you bank on your corners to make open field tackles, you need corners that are good at tackling in open space. That's not what AJ Terrell is designed to do. So if you're going to extend him, there should be a plan in place to not ask him to do a defense that he is not well suited for. That is where I have some slight hesitancy and hiccups when it comes to extend AJ Terrell. You may be trying to fit a square into a circle, and that could result in a bad contract and a bad fit, and AJ Terrell not playing super well because he's not supposed to be in a heavy zone defense. Now, I'm still on board with the idea of extending Terrell despite my last 60-second TED Talk because I do think AJ Terrell is worthy of an extension. I think you could see him get a 4-year, $72 million extension that pays him $18 million a season, makes him the 9th highest paid cornerback in football. And like I said earlier, AJ Terrell may be the 10th best corner in the league, making the 9th highest paid cornerback. That's not a big disparity. Teams can work with that. So I think this is a very fair extension for both parties. For Terrell, he gets $18 million a season. For the Falcons, they get top 10 cornerback play at number 9 overall pay. So I'll turn it over to you. Would you extend AJ Terrell? Give me a yes, give me a no down below in the comments section. I want to know what you guys think. Now, we have our trivia question to answer. Well, drum roll, please. Ito Smith was the mystery man, 4th-round pick out of Southern Miss. Had a good start to his career with Atlanta. Ultimately, just could never really break through the depth chart and take over the role as the starter. Went over to Dallas, didn't get much action there, out of the league after that. So, Ito Smith was our trivia answer for today's episode.